Welcome back to another video. Heartbreaking Swindon as Bradford City lose 5-4 to Swindon with 10 men. Richie Smallwood getting sent off. What were your thoughts on that then? With Richie Smallwood in particular, as he let him down. What's your thoughts on Smallwood throughout the season? Because for me, he's been the player of the season and a good candidate for it. And then he's gone and cost us what could be automatic promotion. That's my fear, that we will look back on that red card and that horror tackle as the moment where we go, that's what cost us. Because not only has it cost us the 3 points there, but it's gonna damage us down the line because we haven't got a specific replacement for him. Who would you throw in midfield? Do you go Keller and Pattison? It's very attack-minded, as we saw, as the evidence when Smallwood came off, not just down to 10 men, but the presence, the awareness that Smallwood has to his positional awareness to pick up spaces where the midfield are going to pick up the runners, and he's so good at doing his job and going about his business quietly off the ball, but you don't see him. You don't see all the work he does until he's not there. And then it goes to absolute misery, wasn't it? Let's face it, and that's the roller coaster of football. But Bradford City, really, not a lot of football clubs have what Bradford City have, unfortunately, where 1 minute you are going up and then the next minute you're not. Quite simply, that's probably a lot of the mood, but it's still not over. And I'm quite. It took me about an hour and a half to get over it. I had to put some country music on, just to try and get me on a level head, before I then put some more happy, good tunes on, because that's just what I have to do, sort of thing. I can't go straight into a Shawaddy Waddy or an Elvis or Beatles, or a Rod Stewart. I've got to ease in with slow, depressive, morbid stuff to reflect my mood. So what's your mood? If we lose and you're into music, what music do you put on when you lose? That's the question of the video for you to put down in the comments down below. I'd be interested to see what you say with that. But I'd summarise my mood like that as well. If you go to like a concert or a gig, it's like a specific decade, maybe an 80s or 70s or 60s, specific decade, and they put the bad music on. There's a bad song that comes on, you don't like that song. That's like when Swindon scored, it's dreadful. But then you get one of your favourite songs of all time come on, and it's great. And then you come out of it and you go, actually, it was a good night, I enjoyed that. But when it's football, you don't remember the Halliday goal to make it 4-3, and when we were 2-0 up, you just remember the defeat, the result of losing 5-4 with 10 men, and it ruins your day, your weekend and your night. But I'm looking past the result and the performance. I thought the effort levels that the 11 players out there put in, 10, that the 10 players out there put in, that were phenomenal. You've got to praise the effort. The quality wasn't specifically there. A lot of hurried balls, which I suppose that were the way we're playing when you've got about 10 defenders on the pitch. I think, Kavanaugh, the only attack-minded player, and Keller. The rest of them, we had 2 wing-backs on either side and then 2 centre-backs on either side as well. And we still allowed a huge amount of crosses into the box, and you knew it were going to cost us. We weren't getting tight enough to their ringers. Number 42 for them, I don't know his name. I never even heard of him, but he tore Brad Halliday to shreds. He's never seen. I've never seen Brad Halliday look so defensively weak. Obviously, he got his goal, and it would have been a huge moment for him, but defensively, very close to letting us down on a number of occasions. But I must say that their number 42 was fantastic. He could go either side, and Swindon played well as well, I have to say. That they've been on a fantastic run. They haven't lost at home since November. Oliver's done a great job for them. Yes, in the mid-table, but from where they were to where they are now, it's streets ahead. And he's a wind-up merchant, but he's done a fantastic job, and you can't dispute that. And they did play good football, even at 2-0. It was quite an entertaining open game. It was a good game, and value for money. But at this stage of the season, that's an isolated game. Away from home, it's not, obviously. 5 away wins all season is nowhere near good enough, and it's looking very, very tough now. Notts County at home, We get battered by them every time. Not just the last 3-0 I think in 2014. In 2009 we lost 5-0 to them. They have a very good history of battering us, unfortunately. But I have faith that we can beat anyone at home. So whilst I'm concerned about that, I still have faith we can beat anyone at home. Chesterfield and Donny away, very, very tough. And then Fleetwood at home. I don't need to tell you the fixtures because you'll be looking every minute of every day. But it's going to be tough. And we're making it harder for ourselves. But that game, it was a good game. It was a good performance. Sloppy errors in the defending areas, but I think you can put it down to a lack of energy towards the end. Conceding so late on, defending for their lives. Sat really deep. You could see how shattered they were. Halliday, Adaramola. A number of players looked absolutely knackered. Kavanagh. And I think that's when you look at Alexander, and I love Graham Alexander. I will, I need to say that. He's the best manager this football club has had since Phil Parkinson, and he is very close to emulating him, and he will get us out of League Two at some point, whether it's this season or next. And if we don't go, stick with him because he gets it. You watch his interviews, he loves this club. I saw, fans were great, the atmosphere was fantastic yesterday. Up and down, unbelievable support all the time. We have we have the best fan base in the football league, 100%, no doubt about it. And we have the best colours as well. And it's great on a sunny day to get all the Claret and Amber on show. And obviously, with the Stephen Darby sort of tribute, credit to Swindon and obviously the City event for getting in touch about that, and for that to become a bit of an appreciation game for what he achieved at both clubs and for what he's also achieving in his life. And I wish him all the best. In this dreadful disease that is MND. But that were a nice touch as well. So great atmosphere, and towards the end, stayed to clap him off like we do many times, and Alexander comes over and gives a good little chest pump, and he's with us all the way. But I have to say, having gone round the hill a bit, I won't say it's on him, but I think he could have done more to impact that in a better way. I think having 8 defenders, it's always going to invite pressure, and they just bombarded us with crosses, and we conceded from a number of crosses. So that's something you got to look at. The lack of energy, the lack of substitutions because of the lack of energy we then had. You're looking at Walker, Mellon. Can they come on to not even impact the game going that way, but give us a bit of an outlet? Too many times the ball were going up and it kept coming back, and there was no way out, and you're just putting so much pressure on yourselves. But there were so many players who were just off the feet. Just make a few more subs, because when you're defending so deep that you ain't got the energy to keep defending, as we saw. So I think his substitutions and obviously playing 8 defenders was questionable. I thought, considering that first 15 minutes, it was going to be an end-to-end game, and they were quite open. So I felt like there were still chances to have on the counter, especially with them flooding players forward. But it is what it is. It was what it was, and we lost 5-4, and we give it a good go, and we had the effort, and we've got to go into Thursday like that first 15 minutes, and that's the frustration with Smallwood. To go back to the beginning, he didn't need to make that tackle. That was not a tackle he needed to make. He's been unbelievable for us this season. I won't hear any stick, because he's been our captain, he's been our leader, he's made more tackles than anyone else in the Football League with 69 before today. He's been our warrior, and when Smallwood plays well, we play well, and that's been the case throughout his time at Bradford City. But today he's cost us, unfortunately, and he just did not need to make the tackle, and that's the frustration. You're 2-0 up in the 15th minute, and he goes charging into that, and yeah, he gets the ball, but he goes over the top as well, and it's rash and it's dangerous, and it's always going to be a red when you watch it back. So, more importantly, he's a big miss for the next 3. But we've got to have this bit of fight about us, because throughout the season we've had setbacks, we've had goals that have gone in that haven't been given, we've had offsides that have been onside and have been disallowed. We've had penalties that should have been penalties that shouldn't have been. But that's just the referees. In terms of injuries, we've always had players who are out when you get a full team back. Our star man in Andy Cook, but you look back, Sarcevic, Patterson out in the first half, then again March to April, and they're back now. Now Smallwood's out, so it's on these players now to forget about all the adversities they've had and just give it their all again on Thursday and go again. And we've really got to go after Notts County, because away at Notts County we give them too much respect. We look scared of them. We're a couple of yards off them. We've got to go up for that, and we've got to challenge them. And like I say, I believe we can beat them, and we can beat anyone on our day. But we've got to make sure we're doing that now, because there's only so often that results are going to go our way, because Walsall lost again. They've got to go to Newport, Accrington and Harrogate. Are you telling me they're not going to win one of those? If they win Harrogate next week, will they then have the confidence to win the next three? And then that's them up. So we've got to take charge of it now. And yesterday was disappointing. It was hard to take, but we've got to fully get behind them on Thursday, because that's all that matters now. And we've got to keep the faith. Like I said, there's reasons why. There's different things that could have happened. The referee was shocking throughout the game. Alexander could have made subs. He could have played a different formation. He maybe shouldn't have brought 7 defenders on. But those players were sweating and dying for that badge. And that's all I want to see. And if I can keep seeing that, and I can keep seeing, players rolling their sleeves up and battling like I've seen throughout the season, then I'm happy with that. And that's what this club has got at the minute under Graham Alexander. I didn't see it against Port Vale. That's why I was so frustrated after Port Vale. But I've seen it for the majority of this season. And that's why I love Graham Alexander, and I love these group of players at the minute. And that's why I believe that we can get over the line, because there's been too many of those performances where we haven't quite got the win, but we've had the Crews and the Colchesters where we do get the 3 points. Turn those edgy ones into wins, like I think we can, and we'll get promotion into League One next season. Keep the faith, keep believing, and keep following City as we are. We're selling out every ground, and let's get behind them for the big game on Thursday night. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thoughts on Smallwood, thoughts on the performance, Alexander as well. But like I say, keep believing, because we will get promotion. Like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new. On the road to 900 subscribers with 10 away. All the support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.